Another week, another hot takes. Here we go. First hot take of the week is I'm noticing a lot of hate whenever the devs introduce something new, and I believe the reason people are so vicious towards change is because we are so used to the game only getting a content patch every 3 to 4 months or even more. The fact that we are getting changes that change how the game is played so frequently is a scary thing since we just aren't used to it. Bit of a mild take. I sort of agree, but also at the same time, it's just psychology. I guess when people are like unhappy with things completely unrelated to it, they'll just like funnel all that negative energy into anything that the developers do. This is not just an Overwatch problem, this is anything. If you ever lose the goodwill of your consumers, they'll find a way to pick apart at it. So also, that being said, some people are not going to be happy with certain changes. People are generally resistant to change, but personally, I'm actually not that vicious towards this change. I think it's an interesting quality of life buff more than anything for the heroes, and we still don't know the context. It feels like a whole like brand new Overwatch 2.1 with the way it sounds, right? All the passives in the game have not changed at all since the game came out, and it's actually already been 1.5 years. Can you believe it? Almost a year and a half of already of Overwatch 2. It felt like we were waiting for Overwatch 2 for so long while we were in Overwatch 1. And now that we got it, it was October 2022. It's January 2024, man. 1 year, 4 months. But yeah, I would say half and half. We are getting content literally every 4 weeks right now. A new season, a mid-season, sometimes 2 patches in the mid-season, and then a new season begins right away. So this is a good frequency. They've been keeping it up for the past year and a half, so more power to them. I'm all Overwatched out from the OG Overwatch, so like I'm okay with like crazy shit, wacky shit, to be honest with you. Flashpoint, push, and control are the same game mode. What? The only difference is that the two newer modes, the point changes and moves instead of going to a new map for round 2. I loathe push like others loathe 2CP. The scorching hot take, this person has a second take. They said they should have left the player base to try 2CP with 5v5 before removing it entirely. We lost a lot of great maps and variety. Most people seem to hate the mode, but it was my favorite personally. I think it would have been far less frustrating with 5v5 and move the damn second spawn back 20 meters with plans to push it back another 5 with patches until it feels right. Can't believe they didn't do that themselves for years. All right, I'm gonna be honest, those are some 2 pretty interesting takes. The first one, no, they're not the same game mode. Just because there's like a point that you have to capture doesn't mean it's the same game mode at all. That's just a weird comparison because the map is designed with different funnels and choke points and angles specifically for certain game modes, right? Push is completely different too because you're moving an objective, so the team fights are always moving around the map. There are longer, narrower pathways for those ones. Like Flashpoint has like usually 4 angles opened up for you to attack on. King of the Hill, some maps are 4 angles, some are not. That is a completely wild take on the first one. Your scorching take is actually less scorching than your first one. I will say they've already allowed you to play 2CP in arcade the entire time. You can play Moira, you can play Volskaya, you can play whatever. Horizon? No, there's one more that you're able to play literally like once a season. They throw it in there for people to play. And like so far, I feel like the grass is always greener. And it's all personal preference, of course. Like if you did enjoy it, who's to say you wouldn't enjoy it now? But I would say the majority of the player base didn't like it, myself included. I think it's better to put that in the past and continue iterating on the new game modes, like that new one that Aaron Keller and the team announced at BlizzCon with the 2 points and 1 neutral in the middle. That one I'm excited for. I've also tried 2CP, 5v5, and 6v6 in custom games on stream many times over the past year and a half, and every time I do it, I'm reminded why it got removed. It's just like it used to be, just big snowballs on both ends, and not that much better than push in some cases, because push feels very snowbally for a lot of people, but 2CP, nah. The next hot take is Doomfist is the best tank in the game, but his requirements of proper cooldown management coupled with the technical playstyle makes him unappealing to most players and therefore seen as bad. This one is actually not as hot as you think. It's like a warm take. He's definitely not the best tank at all. He's not bad. You wrote at the end, people he's seen as bad. The only people who think he's bad are like Doomfist players, simply because my take on that is Doomfist players from Overwatch 1 are still trapped in the Overwatch 1 mindset that if you can't engage as Doomfist and kill someone with your cooldowns, he's bad. Because old Doomfist was able to cheese like the whole like ceiling stall, 125 slam, punch, uppercut, or whatever, and then you one-shot somebody. Because Doom can only sometimes one-shot if he's empowered punch with primaries, he can't do it all the time because he's a tank. If he's able to one-shot every time, then that becomes a bit problematic. But because like, he's not unable to do that, the perception is that he's bad. But I think on the receiving end against good Doomfist players, I think he's good. He actually creates a lot of space, and he's very technical, high skill ceiling hero. I would say he's not even unappealing to most players. I actually think Doom is pretty damn popular, and if there's nothing available to stop him, he can absolutely destroy, I would say. But that goes for a lot of tanks, right? You can't play Ryan if they have like Mei and like, I don't know, like Reaper, Discord Orb, and a bunch of shit. You can't really play Doom into, you know, a couple of heroes as well. It can be very frustrating to get a lot of value, especially if you use all your cooldowns to go in and, you know, they have this available. I don't know, the argument that you can't play Doom against certain CC, I mean, all tanks suffer from that problem for the most part. Doom a little bit harder because he does have to get in your face, I suppose, but like, good movement and timing to bait out certain abilities is part of the plan. But like, again, I'm on the receiving end as Doomfist, so I'll have my bias and every Doom main will have their bias on their perception of the hero, but I actually think he's good. The seasons are too short for current development cycle. The quality of rewards in the battle pass have progressively become more underwhelming over time, and every season there's always new bugs that sometimes go unfixed until a season later. Truthfully, I don't know what the workload is like for the team, but all of these indicators for quality lead me to suspect that the devs need more time in the kitchen. I understand that players will receive less goodies each year and content creators will have to deal with longer drought periods to work under, but I truly prefer if we get more meaningful content and polish. Not a hot take. I think that's actually a good take. Based. I agree. It would suck as a content creator if the season is long and drawn out, but I do actually agree that the quality of the rewards, the mythic skins, the customization, everything has slowly depreciated a little bit. The amount of customization, I would say what they've been able to spit out is like deteriorating a little, but I wouldn't say it's completely their fault. It's more of I guess budget and resource management. I wouldn't say like Team 4 exactly, but whoever's managing higher end, I think they need to hire more. If they want the higher quality output, you need more people on the team, and I think they're understaffed, if I had to guess. What was it? The return to office stuff made a lot of people leave. I think even as recent as a couple of months ago. A lot of the people that I know on the Overwatch team are no longer there. Like the turnover is crazy in the gaming industry, and whenever you onboard new people, it takes a long time to pick up where people left off. And I will say the 9-week season was good for the first few seasons when they were like ready to handle that, but then as like the development cycle has continued on for the last year and a half with people dropping in and out, the output is not matching anymore. So for the sake of improved development, I will also say instead of 9 weeks, you could push it to 12 weeks, 3-month seasons to give the team more juice. I respect them for trying their best, but at the same time, the quality is being diminished, and I do think they would benefit from that. If their resources and their head count doesn't get any larger, and this is what we're left with, they should absolutely increase dev cycle to 3 months instead of 2 months. In a bit. If HR and the recruitment team are able to just hire like a bunch of new people or outsource more towards other studios, because if you don't know, I'm pretty sure Blizzard outsources to a bunch of studios for art and everything, because sometimes when I look at art and skins and people say they worked on this skin, that skin, they don't actually work for Blizzard, they work for like a different company. And that's actually pretty normal. It's not just a Blizzard thing. A lot of bigger companies will outsource an entire like certain projects and delegate projects to different teams outside of Team 4 as well. Like a voice, like it's not like someone sitting there in-house with like a voice acting team or voice line team. They'd probably have like a production separate management that does certain things at a time, but then that requires people on Team 4 who are managing all of that to like have the resources to do that. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I do think they should lower all support ammo count. The damage wise, not healing wise. Oh, like, so Baptiste having damage bullets and healing bullets, so like lower the amount of damage bullets he has, but keep the healing bullets. This way, DPS is the main source of damage as it should be, and tanks won't be blown up as quick. KarQ has 15 ammo count when it should be like 5, like they do extra crit damage and they're fast, very strong. Alari just went up to 16 when she could 2 or 3 tap most heroes. She should be lowered to 10 to 12, BAP 36 ammo, so on and so forth. It's like a medium take. It's like, one of two evils. There's one end of players who are saying that like the tanks get blown up because all the supports are so DPS heavy. Then there's the other side where like, oh, the healing creep is so high and you're getting pocketed so hard. But how are they able to pocket if they're busy like off angling and DPSing on different angles, right? Ammo count nerf is like a significant nerf on the hero. I wouldn't be opposed to it if that's the angle they wanted to take. It's a little interesting, but all that will do is incentivize more heal botting. So there'll be less things dying quickly, and then people will start complaining about heal creep being too crazy because people would prioritize just hard pocketing. Heroes like Lifeweaver would start rising again, like real hard pockets, and then some tanks would just be unkillable. Balance is tricky, guys. It really is. I think a fine line between the ammo for both is pretty sufficient. Right now, it is a little high. I did not think KarQ needs 15 ammo. She should probably have 10 ammo. Illari at 16 is a little bizarre. She could probably stay at 10 shots, to be honest with you. I agree with that one. BAP at 36 ammo. BAP can just be at 30, straight up, like 10 shots and a reload. I think it's a decent start if people think supports are too strong. I do think supports are a little strong. I would actually say it's less of the damage and more about the healing. But yeah, once you go in one direction, the other one becomes more prominent, is basically the point I'm trying to get at. So pick the lesser of two evils, heal creep or too much damage, or tune it so like both are pretty equal. Next hot take is we should buff Rein by making the shatter have a bigger radius and a longer stun the further he has to fall from however high he slams from. Based. I actually think it's pretty cool that Rein, I've always agreed that Rein should do more damage if he shatters from high ground because he's got a very high punish window. If he does shatter from high ground, you'll heal like a hammer and then you just wait. There's actually a tech where you go into like a bounce spot and you pop the hammer down and it's quiet. You'll be in the animation and then you'll like do a little bounce. Same with Lucio. I do think if you drop the beat from really high ground, it should do a little bit more, or you can, smash their head for like 50 damage or something like that. I think that's pretty cool, but I just think it would cause some problems with a bunch of the map geometry. It's a bit buggy because you can like charge a lot of extra damage with certain secret techs like that. So maybe that's why they've avoided it, or maybe it's something they've experimented with. Doom's power block should work like a parry attack. So using it to block Anna's sleep, Orissa's javelin, or Sigma's rock should end the power block, but not put him on the ground. I think if it charged his punch fully, it would be too strong. Maybe just give the normal amount and charge if you blocked more earlier. Maybe making it also stop the hack effect from happening. Just ending the block would be nice, but then give him a compensating nerf somewhere, like make power block less long, take more to power up, or anything else in his kit. I think the parry mechanic was something that like Spilo and some of the people thought of for someone like Wrecking Ball. I feel like it's still a little weird for Doomfist. If you give him, like, he's so mobile, if he's able to parry and just look in any direction, how big is a parry window in other games? I think that would be okay, but you do have to give him not necessarily compensatory nerfs. I would feel like if the window is so small, if you miss your window, then you don't get power block and then you don't get empowered punch. So this would have to open up for like a larger rework if you swap it to a parry attack completely. Maybe if you have a duration with 2 blocks, 2 short parries, sure, maybe you can hold 2 charges of it, so that he could remove what is it called? Get rid of some of the CC he suffers from. But then maybe the amount to charge for empowered would stay the same. So you really got to take burst damage at the right time. Again, I think Doom is pretty good right now, but his problems he suffers from is getting CC'd. But I just think every hero needs a weakness. But when your weaknesses are not very evident, that's when it becomes a little problematic. And Doom's is like CC and stuff, but so are a lot of tanks. So like if you give Doom a parry, I mean, he's a high skill ceiling hero. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. Like it has to be a really small hitbox right in the front, like a little square in his chest. Maybe. I'm not feeling that one. Like it's okay, but like it can get cooked a little bit more in the kitchen, or just bring another hero with the parry mechanic. I like the parry mechanic, just want to say that. It feels like the community has too much bad faith in Overwatch 2. I can understand that there are problems, I won't pretend they don't exist, and there are plenty of people and creators with more nuanced, understandable takes on the game's direction, but whenever something is off, wrong, or so very much is not perfect, I'm seeing people assume the worst. Malgo's too strong when he got released to rank. Wow, Blizzard does it again. Those greedy scumbags made the battle pass pay to win. A shift in role power. Dude, the devs can't balance their game. Putting some event tickets in the bundle, how dare they? You get the point. When the community reception is a big factor to getting new blood in the game, it's kind of annoying to have players see this as their first impression of the game that I love very much. The bad faith in the community demotivates me more than whoever whatever bad things actually happen to the game. Overwatch definitely deserves its criticism for the right things, but yes, there's a very loud minority. I would actually argue that the biggest complainers, if you're on social media, is actually the people who've quit the game already, and they just like to trash on it just because they hate Blizzard for understandable reasons, and they didn't like the direction of the game. That's fine. But whenever it's not an Overwatch exclusive problem, like there's a lot of people who shit on League. There's a lot of games that have that. And I will say, like, you say it dissuades people, but Overwatch has had a pretty healthy player base. I do this comparison with Steam because Steam is one of their like 5 platforms. And I would argue Steam is one of their smaller platforms, right? But it's the only one that is publicly available. I still play on Battle.net. All my friends play on Battle.net, but the Steam numbers have been very consistent since it came out on Steam for the past 6 months. Literally, like, no movement, stable 15 to 25k on Steam every single day. And that just goes to show how casual this game is in terms of people who just play it and don't engage in social media. When you say the community has too much bad faith, that's just like the online like social media community, but there is a very large offline community, aka my wife, who plays, you know, who's been streaming and playing Overwatch. She doesn't read patch notes. She doesn't give a fuck. She just plays the game. Some of the narratives are a little misguided, but they deserve criticism in the right places. But yeah, I see where you're coming from, and I can see why it's demotivating you. Hot take, Moira is the worst possible hero to learn for new players. Moira is not used for any type of counters or utility. If a new player mains Moira, they won't learn anything about the game. If a new player tried to learn, let's say, Ana, then they would learn how to sleep, who to sleep, as well as who to anti. They would gain much more knowledge of the game. I think this is a freezing cold take. Yeah, like ice, like we're in Antarctica right now. Overwatch is way more than just decision making on a single cooldown. Like, you're comparing it to Ana on just sleep and who to anti, but like there's so much more nuance to this game than just ability usage. There's everything else that you can still learn on Moira. You said you would gain more knowledge as Ana, which you would learn knowledge in the Ana matchups, sure, but you can still learn Overwatch playing Moira. If anything, there's less things to worry about for new players by playing Moira because there's less to think about. You can still generate good value, and you still have to learn all the maps, corners, angles, general support positioning, the macro, ultimate tracking for your team, enemy team, figuring out like the objective. When you're a new player, you have to learn what the enemy heroes do, all their abilities, all the maps, all the angles, and it's one step at a time. If you just started off as Ana, like sure, you could probably be fine and understand your hero, but like to say that it's the worst hero to learn for a new player is a terrible take. Brig is the best designed hero in the game, a support who turns into a tank as her ultimate is design goals. I think this is probably satire. I think her original state was poorly designed, balance and numbers wise, but I actually like Brig's current design. She fits her niche. The whip shot has a skill aspect to it, like packing people and holding a shield is not too hard, but it teaches you the decision making and the boopage. But Brig, we're on version 3.0. I think this one's okay. I actually like this version of Brig. I would say arguably the best designed hero in the game is Ana, but now people are like, oh, Ana doesn't fit 5v5. But at least in Overwatch 1, people were just like, yeah, Ana's so cool. Sniper, has its flaws, can get dove, but is strong in the right hands. I'm biased. Okay, I'm just gonna read this. It says, forget a hot take. How about cold takes that should have been implemented by now? Objective time on the scoreboard, name card voting at the end, in-game cosmetics gained through playtime, enough Overwatch currency in the battle pass to purchase the next battle pass. Number 1, objective time on scoreboard, sure. I think that's fine to show if it doesn't clog it too much. I think scoreboards should be simple. I actually think there should be a scoreboard where you can press a toggle to show more information if you choose to. But I think having a simple scoreboard is actually the better approach because you can only consume so much information. The objective time is more of like maybe a more complicated scoreboard shows up in between rounds when you have downtime or only when you're dead. But I would like it where it's like just condensed information that's relevant to the actual match. Objective time is more of to like not get flamed. If someone goes like, oh, you have 4 and 5, it's like, well, look at my objective time. Number 2, name card voting at the end. I kind of miss it, but I honestly don't care. I think the progression system is fine right now, but name card voting is good for people who want it. It doesn't matter to me. I always leave the game anyways as soon as it ends. I don't care to look at that. Number 3, in-game cosmetics earned through playtime, like exclusively playtime, like after 10 hours. The problem with just playtime is that'll get botted like crazy. If you can earn a cosmetic based on playtime, you're gonna get people who just make a bunch of accounts and just sit in a match And you're gonna get AFKers because they just want play time so they can earn their cosmetic and then sell the account or leave. So like, as cool as that sounds and nice for the people who are actively playing, it creates the problem of botting. Like, that's the foresight that people are missing when they think of something like that exclusively. This kind of exists, earning cosmetics through playtime, but you have to like win, right? Because right now you have to do the challenge and win, so it forces you to actually play. But if it's just strictly playtime, again, it's botting. And AFKers who are just like, oh, why aren't you playing? I was like, oh, I only need 10 more minutes to get my thing. I'm just gonna sit and spawn. You know what I mean? And then fourth, enough currency in the battle pass purchase the next battle pass. I agree. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. All right, last hot take of the video. Riptire is one of the best ultimates in the game. A top 3 in my opinion. There are so many routes and roofs. Routes and roofs. Isn't it roofs? R-O-O-V-E-S for plural. Anyways, roofs that this thing can travel. And the fact it's insanely slippery and a good junk player can just strafe the crap out of anyone. It's almost a guaranteed multi-kill in overtime. And it counters most channel ultimates like Coalescence or Dragon Blade. Okay, a bit of a hot take. I do not think it's a top 3 ultimate. I think there's a bit of a uncertainty factor with it. It could be very strong that it's slippery. The slipperiness is true, but the thing is, like, the Riptire is a very hit or miss in higher ranks. Riptire can absolutely kill 2 or 3 people, but it also do nothing because it can just get shot out of the air by a single Sojourn Rail, a single Widow just waiting there, a smart Widow just wait there for one charge shot, boom, dead. So I think it's maybe top 3 in like lower metal ranks because when they hear Riptire, everyone just runs, right? I assume that's what happens. I've watched a couple of your VODs. They hear Riptire and people just are like, oh, fire in the hole, oh God. They basically accept their death. But in the high ranks, it's like a mid-tier ultimate. There's a lot of things that counter it. Good players know how to Suzu, throw a BAP lamp down. Good Rhines know how to flick their shield at a good time. And any sort of like decent DPS player knows to look and everybody tries to shoot it. And that is all for this week's hot takes. Remember to leave some more in the comments. We'll grab some from the comment section as well as from all other platforms. I'll see you guys next week.